One simple solution to prison overcrowding is to deport every single illegal foreign criminal to their country of origin and to ensure their own governments carry the cost of their incarceration. We cannot continue spending 5.2 billion every year to house illegal foreign criminals.
Of the total number of inmates currently, 26,577 are foreign nationals.
We must address the growing challenge of illegal foreigners, abahambe, in our correctional facilities. A significant portion of inmates are undocumented foreign nationals.
Honorable James is the next speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. 5.2 billion. That is the amount taken from South African taxpayers every single year, not to support victims of crime, not to remove guns from our streets, not to improve safety in our communities or create opportunities for our people. Instead, it is spent on housing and feeding 26,000 illegal foreign criminals in South African prisons. According to the Minister's own reply to Action SA's parliamentary question, these inmates cost South Africans approximately 17,000 per prisoner per month, amounting to a staggering 5.2 billion every year. One simple solution to prison overcrowding is to deport every single illegal foreign criminal to their country of origin and to ensure their own governments carry the cost of their incarceration. South Africa, we've said it is not a hotel for illegal foreign criminals. When Action SA raised this issue, the Minister responded that there are no bilateral agreements in place because South Africa lacks the enabling domestic legislation required to transfer sentenced offenders. So what exactly has the GNU, with 75 ministers and deputy ministers, been doing for nearly 2 years? Sitting on their hands while South African taxpayers pay the price. In the same period, Action SA, with just 6 members in Parliament, has already introduced 6 bills. This is yet another example of a government more interested in press conference and photo opportunities rather than fixing the real problems while Action SA does the work. As Action SA, we will always put South Africans first. We cannot continue spending 5.2 billion every year to house illegal foreign criminals at a cost of 17,000 per inmate per month. So kan dit nie aangaan nie. For the past 2 years, we have supported this budget vote because we recognize the importance of ensuring correctional facilities function properly. We had a debate in this House on the 25th of March on this very topic, and no movement has been made. We cannot continue giving this department a blank check while this serious issue repeatedly raised in this House remains unresolved. The most urgent of these is the need to deport foreign nationals to serve their sentences in their countries of origin at their country's expense, not at the expense of South African taxpayers. And if the Minister will not introduce the legislation necessary to make this happen, then Action SA will. Also, Minister, I urge you to dig a little bit deeper and come back to South Africans, this is on another matter, as to the real reason why Vusi Matlala was moved from Khosimapura in December. I put it to you, Minister, you almost faced another big embarrassment. Get back to us with the real reason as to why Vusi Matlala was moved. I thank you.
But if one looks at the figures, the correctional facilities currently can occupy 107,067 inmates. Of that, currently, there's 169,519 inmates. That's overcrowding of 62,452 inmates. Of that, remand detainees are 63,194. But of the total number of inmates currently, 26,577 are foreign nationals. 65% of those foreign inmates are there for the contravention of immigration legislation. Honourable Chairperson, we need legislative reforms. And there's quite simple reforms that can be affected by this August House. Section 73 of the Correctional Services Act is contradictory to Section 34(6) of the Immigration Act, because the Immigration Act, Section 64(6), enables deportation of an illegal foreigner who is already convicted and serving a sentence. But Section 73 prevents that, because Section 73 says that an inmate should serve its full sentence of which it was convicted. Amending Section 73 will allow Section 54 of the Immigration Act to be affected. Furthermore, it can also be affected to amend the Criminal Procedure Act to allow for the courts to impose the sentence of deportation on someone who contravenes the immigration legislation. Currently, that's not possible for the a judge to do. So that is legislative reforms that can address overcrowding and the fiscal pressure that these foreign nationals place on our fiscus. Thank you, Chair.
Come on, guys, and see them, man. Overcrowding remains. Overcrowding remains a crisis. Overcrowded facilities undermine rehabilitation, fuels violence, and strain resources. We must invest in alternatives to incarceration, such as community corrections and restorative justice, to reduce pressure on our system, TM. We must address the growing challenge of illegal foreigners, abahambe, in our correctional facilities. A significant portion of inmates are undocumented foreign nationals, which adds pressure to already overcrowded prisons and strained resources meant for rehabilitation. Vote 22 must work closely with the Home Affairs to ensure proper deportation processes while upholding human rights and maintaining security. We welcome the judgment, TM, of the Constitutional Court that asylum seekers mabahambe and go and apply emagibo.
The fact of the matter is as follows, that overcrowding is a problem. And it is true. And I think the Honorable Wessels has put it quite clearly in perspective. We have about, around figures, 106,000 sentenced inmates. We have 107,000 beds. But then we have about 63,000 remand detainees. So there are enough beds for sentenced offenders, but the remand detainees. And that brings me to the further aspect in terms of legislation and amendments of the legislation applicable when it comes to remand detainees. I also want to mention that in the criminal justice system and the different cabinet committees, this matter is a priority, and we do discuss how we can amend legislation for specifically when it comes to foreigners. And we have around about, can we say, when it comes to foreigners, almost 27,000 in our facilities. Honorable members also have mentioned the fact that there are members or remand detainees who could not afford bail. We have about 3,300 remand detainees who could not afford bail of R1,000 and less. But it is costing the taxpayer R463 per day to have an inmate there. So that is part of the criminal justice system. We will continue with that. We are already in the process of the legislative reforms that has been mentioned. But unfortunately, and as honorable members should know, that to amend legislation is quite a process. You have to go through different phases. And after that, in the end, we're also going to have public inputs and hearings by the Portfolio Committee on Correctional Services. Let me say this, that with the budget constraints, I want to reiterate it again, that we have to deal with the situation and try our best. I think it was the Honorable Engelbrecht, he said, "Is my family safe?" And of course, but if we ask, "Is my family safe?" we could ask that to many other departments as well, not only to the Department of Correctional Services. We are in the end of the queue. It starts with the police arresting more people. They are becoming more effective. Then it goes to our courts. And after the courts, it ends with the correctional services. But I want to say that we only have so much space. But yes, the Minister of Finance announced that we will get 2 more prisons that will be built, one in Nigel and one in Kirkwood, but that takes time. But in the meantime, we will have to deal with the situation. I want to thank you, everyone, for the support, and let's take hands to solve and ensure that my family is safe. I thank you.